Okay, everyone, this is Christine Olson, also known as Teeny, and today we're calling this Tea Time with Teeny, and today is April 1st, so happy April Fool's Day, everybody, and today's topic is all about telling your story. And I'm really excited about today's topic because telling your story is very important to having people relate to you and your customers relate to you. So, it looks like we got someone else join us, so I'm just going to make sure to mute them so that, just for recording purposes. Okay, so today is all about telling your story and being relatable to your customers and people that you're working with, okay? So there's not one right way to run this business into telling your story, and that's something that I really want you guys to understand. Let me ask you one question. Can you guys all see me like on the big screen? Like, am I the one that's big? Give a thumbs up if you can. Yep, okay, perfect. Okay, so there's not one right way to run this business or to telling your story, and that's one thing I want you guys to all understand. So I've gone to lots of different trainings from top coaches, and I've watched and learned a lot from top coaches. I watch top coaches and what they do and how they talk about their stories. And that's helped me learn how to tell my story, because I used to struggle with this so much. And I'm going to share with you on how I built my story, and share with you a little bit more about how top coaches tell their stories. And this is going to be a fusion of that. I want you to take little pieces from what their trainings are and what my trainings are to be able to create your story, okay? So I'm going to share with you how these top coaches build their story and how I've built my story, which is a combination of different top coaches, okay? So use from this training how you connect to it. Use from this training, the different things that connect to you and how you can build your story, okay? Your story is you, and you're going to be the best person telling your story. But learning how to verbalize it and how to get it out there is really all learned through trainings. Okay, when I first started to try to write my story, I thought to myself, where do I start? For example, I'm like, I was born, and I don't want to start my story all the way back there. So, let's talk a little bit more about that. Where is significant to start telling your story, okay? So, for example, Amy Silverman is a top coach, and I don't know if any of you guys follow her, but if you do not, I really want you to write down that you should be following Amy Silverman and on social media and all the different ways in which she's going to tell her story. And she's a great, great storyteller, and you should be following her on social media and watching how she tells her story. She tells her story piece by piece, okay? And a lot of coaches on social media, that's what they do. They're sharing little pieces of their story at different times. So don't feel like you have to tell your story all at once in one big thing. However, it is good to have that also. And we're going to talk about the different ways of telling your story. So, should you have a big composed story of your full story? Yes, you should. But you don't have to, you don't have to only be telling this big paragraph of your story. There's different ways to get snippets out there, okay? So people ask me all the time. They're on social media, they're on Instagram, they're on Facebook, they're on Twitter, they're in person, and they're asking me questions, and they're asking me, what's your story? And they don't really ask me, hey, Teeny, what's your story? But they're asking questions. They're asking me, well, how did you lose the weight? How did you go gluten-free? Why did you go gluten-free? How were you able to quit your job? How are you able to do this coaching thing full time? How are you able to gain your energy back when you said you struggled with that? Do you struggle like I do? Or you can't understand because I go through this. This is how people think, and this is how they talk to you, okay? And if you don't share your story, then they can't relate to you. And they are asking these questions, trying to find out if I'm just a real regular person like them, and I am. And they want to know, how have I done this, okay? So So I started my journey before Beachbody. You know, I had things happen to me before Beachbody, and this story is about me and my journey. And it's not all about Beachbody, but Beachbody has really given me the tools to overcome things that I never thought were possible. So it is a big part of my story, but it's not my whole story, okay? So what do I tell my followers that follow me? I tell them how I've struggled and how they can relate to me, and I want you to do the same. And I want you to share your story and be vulnerable so that they can relate to you. I still struggle with this to this day. And, you know, I still struggle with a lot of things to this day. And I need to share that with people so that they can understand and they can relate to me and realize that I'm just a regular person, okay? So at different points, there's going to be different points that you share, and that you struggle with. And when you share those things with people, they can relate to you because we're just regular people. So how do we overcome these obstacles? That's what really people really want to know, okay? So I want you to think about this, and I want you to find everyday moments in your lifetime where you can reflect, okay? So how do we do that? So just telling your story on a day-to-day basis, okay? So let's start here with your story. So how do we do this? So you want to be finding moments in your everyday life that you can reflect upon, to think about where you were before, okay? So maybe it's a non-scale victory. Maybe you tried on a pair of pants that were too tight, and you know you did that a while ago, and now you feel awesome in them. You know, maybe someone noticed that your face looks brighter or you look happier. Maybe someone said that your face looks thinner. I've been getting that a lot this month and this past month, and that's been making me feel really happy. And so that's something that I would want to share with people. You know, reflect on that moment and take some time. And you know, when it happens to you, when you try on that pair of clothes or someone says that to you, take a moment and reflect on the emotions that you feel at that moment and how you felt before. Okay, journal it, write it down, and think about, you know, how did I feel when I tried that on 3 months ago, and how do I feel today? You know, these are perfect stories. Maybe you were in a dressing room. Maybe you were trying something on that you never thought you'd be able to wear. Or how are you feeling? Find those moments in your everyday life. And if you're thinking, gosh, I've come so far than where I used to be, or gosh, I'm such a different person than I was a year ago, it feels so good. Think about that. Take a moment, reflect. Why do you feel so good? Where did you come from? Share those moments with people around you and on social media so that people can relate to you, okay? So Amy Silverman, going back to a top coach and how she talks about her story, here's the steps that she uses to tell her full story. So this is an outline for you if you're trying to think about building your story and writing your story, okay? So here's her outline. So where were you before Beachbody? And how did you feel? What did you struggle with? 2, what happened that changed it all? And 3, what is life like today? Okay, so now I'm going to explain these to you and how I use that outline to tell my story, okay? So where were you before Beachbody, and how did you feel? What did you struggle with? So for me, I was overweight. I was struggling with weight gain, and nobody could figure out what was wrong with me. I was a yo-yo dieter. I tried all different types of diets, low carb diets, and sometimes I would look really good, but I was just unhappy because I wasn't eating balanced diet and I wasn't feeling great. I had no energy. I was stressed out at my job. I wanted to live a healthy and fit lifestyle, but I also wanted to be successful in my career, and I felt like I couldn't have both. So I was going to happy hours after work to blow steam and to laugh and to joke around with my friends. I felt lost and I felt stuck, and I felt like this was always going to be like this. And this is the way I had to be to advance my career. So so who were you before Beachbody? Who have you become since then? And what happened since then? So what was that turning point where something just clicked for you? Okay. For me, I have been using Ideal Protein. This is like one of those low carb diets. And, and I looked good on the outside, but emotionally and mentally, I was having all these ups and downs. I was going to the gym and I was hanging out with friends, but I wasn't going to the gym consistently all the time, especially when I was going through a very stressful time at my job. Okay. So, then I started to gain weight, and I started to get really sick, actually. I had horrible digestion problems, and I knew that the weight gain was really scary and the low energy was really scary, and I had to figure out what was wrong with me, and the doctors couldn't figure out what was wrong with me, so I had to figure it out. And so I went to a nutrition school and I started to kind of learn about that, but still I didn't really fully know what was wrong with me. And I did the Ultimate Reset Detox with Beachbody, and it changed my life. And it's the first time I ever started and completed a program. And I had a coach, and I joined an accountability group, and I lost 14 pounds in my stomach. I gained my energy back. This detox kicked me off of alcohol and caffeine. I learned so much about food and my body. And from there, I learned that I could become a coach, pay it forward, help a bunch of other people through something that actually works, through challenge groups and coaching and accountability. I started to, after the detox, I started to try some of the online fitness programs, and Shakeology was changing my life. The vegan Shakeology felt so good in my system, gave me energy, the energy that I was lacking for a long time. And, I started to do the at-home workout programs and joining challenge groups and completing programs for the first time in my life. I was a chronic, start something and never finish it person. I didn't have the accountability and support that I needed. And so that was life-changing for me. It was joining a team and a community and having a coach. So that was that missing piece for me that I was looking for, and that was my turning point. So back to what the 3 questions I want you to ask yourself to write your story. 1, where were you before? 2, what happened that changed it all? And 3, what is life like today? Okay, that outline can help you write your story. So what has changed? Your story is just sharing your everyday life and connecting it back to that deeper part of you that made the change, okay? So we're looking for people that are ready to change now. That's the people we're looking to help, right? So you need to share your story with people so that they can relate to you as the everyday people that we are. But that we found a community and support and the desire to help others and ourselves. And if you don't share with them your story, they won't even understand how this could be possible for them to become a coach, okay? So my coach, Sarah Try, for example, shared with me how fulfilled and happy she was becoming a coach and how passionate she was and what she was doing with coaching. And that's what I wanted to do. So when she was sharing that on social media, that's how I found her. I wanted to do what she did. Okay. And, that's truly how I feel now becoming a coach. I'm living my dream and my passion. I'm helping other people. I'm working on my terms and walking my dog a little longer on days that I want to. I'm traveling and still having an awesome job where I get to see all of you guys via social media or video, and check in with my challenge groups online. And my customers in my challenge groups are seeing transformations, and they're telling me, that the support and the way that, the transformations that they're feeling is really life-changing for them. And the tears of joy that I feel for helping them and myself, for example, I know a lot of you guys follow me on social media, and I share my before and after pictures on social media from the 21 Day Fix Extreme. And I was really scared to do that, for example, because you know, there had been a lot of things going through my life. I felt a lot of stress and anxiety. We moved, and a lot of stuff was going on. And I just, you know, I was unhappy with where I was. And so I took those before and after pictures, just like all my challengers, and I posted them on social media because I wanted people to know that I struggled too. Just because I'm a coach doesn't mean that I don't have things that happen in my life and struggles. And so sharing that was the most freeing feeling. And I can't tell you how amazing it is when you share and you're vulnerable like that, transformation pictures or stories or anything. Because the people that just are like, thank you for showing me that, you know, you're a regular person and I can do this too. Okay. Also, why I love and I like to share this all the time is, you know, staying healthy and fit is part of my job, and my job rocks. Like, I get to be an ambassador of healthy living and inspire others to find this exact same opportunity through Beachbody. And Beachbody is just a piece of my story though, right? So it was that turning point that led me to do this. And you have to think about that turning point for you. This is all part of your story. So there's so much more to each and every single one of us besides just Beachbody, and nobody's going to connect with you if all you talk about is Beachbody, right? So you're a real person, you do real things. It's not just Beachbody, right? Beachbody is a big part of our lives. It's even a bigger part of my life now. It's, you know, giving me financial freedom, and I quit my job and stuff. So it's a big part of my life, but it's not the only thing I do, right? There's a lot of other things I do. And I share with people that I'm just a real person. So like, Beachbody is a product, you know, we have products and programs, and people don't connect with products. They connect with people. So be someone that's real and share your weaknesses and how you overcome them. And I still have weaknesses, and, you know, just like everybody else, and be real with someone. You don't have to be a fitness model or personal trainer. And if you are one of those things, it's awesome. I'm not knocking that down. That's a great thing. But I'm just saying, that people want to connect with real people, and that's what makes this business so special, I think, because whether you have a fitness background or not, you can be a coach and be very successful at it just by being a real person and inspiring other people to make a change. That is all we do as coaches, right? We give them these awesome challenge group experiences. We invite them to, you know, to change their lives and to take control, and we help them through it. And that's just amazing. So that's how Amy Silverman, a top coach, built her story. Okay. So she also thinks about, what do people want in life? Okay. So what are people looking for in life? Okay. And so I think you would agree, a lot of the big top ones that people want out of this life is freedom to travel. I mean, I know for me, that was a huge one. I am a traveling soul, okay? Freedom financially, right? That's a big one. People want freedom financially. And they're looking to feel confident in their own skin, and they're looking to, you know, find happiness. In general, I feel like that's what people are looking for. Maybe you'll think of some other things that come up a lot for you, but for me, that's what I think a lot of them are. And that's some of the ones Amy Silverman brought up. The financial part of Beachbody has been huge for me as well. Being able to leave my job and make a great income, being able to travel the world and have the means to do so, host events for my team, you know, send you guys gifts, do stuff that, you know, that I'm able to do, pay off debt. These are things that I'm able to do because of this opportunity, and it's so amazing. And so sharing these things helps people, you know, be able to relate to me and my struggle, and why I worked hard at this opportunity to free myself of that. Okay. And oh my goodness, if you guys are going to Summit this summer in Nashville in July, this is going to be huge for your business this year. And every year. It's tax deductible, and you're going to have the time of your life, and you won't even realize that you're working and building your business at the same time. So this all goes back to sharing about yourself, right? So sharing pictures of us all together working out and team bonding and the trainings that you're going to learn while we're having a blast. Whenever I go to trips like this, Summit has been in Vegas the last 2 years. I earned a free cruise last year with the team. I'm hanging out, having lunch with Tony Horton and Shaun T. I'm working out with them in the mornings. I'm hanging out with my team. We're having dinners and drinks. We're going horseback riding. All of this great stuff. Free trips. Summit, that's not a free trip, but the Summit is a game changer for me, and has always been a game changer for me. And it's a game changer for pretty much most successful Beachbody coaches. Okay, so these are things. Whenever you go and invest in an event or a real event, you share pictures and you share about what we are doing as a community, right? Whenever I come back from an event, any event, I have people all over the place on social media and out of the woodworks in my regular life saying, what is this? What are you doing for your job? What do you do? What is this event? After attending my first summit, I became a new coach. 2 months later, I joined my first summit. My coach said, you got to be there. And I said, okay. I trusted her that she was guiding me the right way. And after that, my business blew up. And every single time I go to an event, I feel this exact same way. I was a brand new coach, and my coach Sarah said, you got to go get your butt to Summit. And I had a wedding that weekend from a good friend from college. Okay. And I was like, oh, I have a wedding that weekend. Like, what am I going to do? She's like, yeah, that's a tough call. She's like, it's a tough call, but if you're serious about this business, you'll be there. And I thought about that more. And I remember telling my husband, I'm going to miss my friend's wedding because this is my new life. I'm going to take this opportunity. I'm going to run with it. And I thought about it more, and I did. I went to all of her bachelorette parties and everything else, and I was just like, I'm sorry, I have this already planned, and I'm going. And it was a really hard decision, and I do not regret making that decision, okay? That advanced my career so much, and it was a deal breaker. She was absolutely right, and that's why if I could tell you guys anything that you want to be sharing your story, it would be going to Summit. And so right there, that's you guys really need to be there. Okay, I met my best friends and teammates and accountability partners at Summit, and I still talk to them regularly. We share ideas on how to make our teams better, and that's how I really feel like I became a leader for you guys, was attending events like that. The momentum that Summit brings, it's coming up soon. You can roll with the momentum even if you can't go. There's always Team Cup challenges and new stuff that always comes out at Summit that is announced there. And so get ready. There's lots of exciting stuff coming up. So going back, so all of this is really key. And I really want you to think about this. So going back to your story. In your story, you don't want to be all about Beachbody, right? I kind of already touched on this. You have to show people that you have a life outside of Beachbody. Maybe you're unplugging for the day, right? You could say, oh, I'm out of the office today. I'm spending time with my family. Or I got to go for a long walk today with my dog because this is the lifestyle that I get to live. Maybe you're out of the office spending time with your family. As you know, guys, you got to set boundaries. Like when you have messages coming in and all the time and people asking you questions and stuff like that, you have to unplug and set boundaries. I don't always get back to you guys all the time right away. I'm not always attached to my phone, right? So, or my computer. That you have to set boundaries for this business. So, you want to make sure that you don't let social media run you, that you run your social media, okay? But sharing your life on social media is a really great way to let people see that you're a real person. But you don't always have to do it right at that moment. You can take the picture and then later, post it when you're working again, right? Okay. So set boundaries for yourself and show people that this job gives you the freedom to do what you want to do. Or you can go to the beach when you want to go to. And I know a lot of you, a lot of you guys do this full time, but a lot of you don't do this full time. And I want you to know that you can be working after work at a coffee shop, or you could be working at the beach if you want to, or traveling if you want to. I know, Jess, you just got back from Hawaii, and I'm sure you plugged in and you were there. I saw you writing some messages and stuff while you were in Hawaii. I do that too on my trips, but guess what? I can plug in for 2 hours and then enjoy the rest of my day. I can plug in or listen to, an audio about something that's going to advance my career forward while I'm going for a walk. There's lots of different ways that you can be doing stuff, but traveling and having this freedom that you can't really get ever with a conventional job, right? So yeah, share your everyday life beyond Beachbody, because people will be able to connect with this, okay? So let's talk about another top coach that I want you guys to follow, Tara Carr, okay? I hope you guys are all following Tara Carr. She is also amazing. So how does Tara Carr build her story? Okay, again, I told you before, this is a hodgepodge of different people, top coaches, how they're talking about their story. And if you resonate with one of these ways, then you can do a mishmash, or you can try different techniques and different things. See which ones work for you, okay? So how does Tara Carr talk about building your story? She says that everyone has one true sentence about their story, okay? You should be able to tell your story in one sentence. This is what Tara Carr says, okay? There's a lot of different ways to tell your story. So if you wanted to tell your story in one sentence, what would it be, okay? So to find that one true sentence, you'd have to ask yourself a question. And that question is, what is the deepest and darkest thing that has happened in your life? Okay? And I want you all to write this down as your homework, because this is going to be your homework, is working on your story tonight, okay? So chances are, whatever that is has had a huge impact on your life. Maybe your weight, maybe your health, maybe your happiness, right? So a little bit more of my story. I was going through ups and downs at my corporate job. I was having, depression sometimes in my cubicle, anxiety and stress. I was trying low-carb diets, and I just wasn't really happy, but everybody knew me as bubbly and happy, and bubbly, happy teeny, but I just felt so sad and depressed in my cubicle all the time, and I just couldn't figure out why. I was like, what's wrong with me? What's happening? So I was just trying to figure that out. So if I were to tell my one true sentence, okay, it would be this. I was an overweight child that grew up with ADD and ADHD, who struggled with yo-yo dieting and diets my whole life, and worked hard in corporate America to advance my business forward, but still felt really unhappy with those jobs. And through my journey, I found freedom in the way I look, feel, and through being an entrepreneur doing something I love every day. Okay? So that's just something I wrote right before jumping on this call. Okay? Now, I'm sure I could make that a lot better, but I did exactly what I'm asking you guys to do, okay? So it gets better with time as you tell your story, and as you, for me, I feel like that explains a lot about where I came from and where I'm going without writing 10 pages of my story, right? So that's my one true sentence after doing this myself. So think about that deepest, darkest thought and how you overcame it. My friend, Lauren Kaliski, she was a victim of divorce, and her deepest, darkest moment, is about that and how she was able to overcome that. And she had emotional eating, and she found Beachbody and started her weight loss journey. And for her, that was her deepest, darkest moment. Okay. So overcoming that. So also, Tara Carr says to tell your story from someone else's perspective. In third person, how would you tell your story? And again, guys, you might not relate to how Tara Carr tells you to tell your story, but I'm giving you examples so that you can make the best decisions on how you're able to tell your story, okay? After you write your one true sentence and you write out your story, give this to someone you trust and you love, and ask them to take out the fluff and develop one true sentence from this story, okay? And think about that sentence, because that's what you are going to tell people a lot. You know, so where did it come from? What have you done? And if you can tell that in one story, in one sentence, that would be awesome. And I know it's hard, but you know, you don't need all the fluff in there sometimes. Sometimes you just need to grab people's attention with one sentence, okay? So that's another way to tell your story. One last top coach that I would like to tell you how she tells her story is Mindy Wender. I know a lot of you guys who have gone through my new coach training. I really love Mindy Wender. I think she is relatable. She's down to earth. She's incredible. And she is a millionaire with Beachbody. And she's just a regular mom, you know, getting herself out of debt and working this business hard. And that's why I love this woman, because she's just a regular, normal person, and she shares that, okay? So when, you know, I'm learning about how to tell my story through Mindy Wender's advice, to me, I'm like, okay, this is someone that really resonates with me, that I love her story, so this is going to help me with my story, okay? So this is how she tells you to tell your story, okay? There's 9 questions that you need to ask yourself, and then build your story upon this, okay? Again, I want you guys to write this down and write out your stories for me. I would love for you to share them with me and to share them with other people and share them on social media, okay? So to write your story, these 9 questions will be able to help you, okay? The first one, where was I growing up? Tell them about your childhood and your struggles, because that's influenced you and how you're an adult today and your struggles today, right? Most likely it has, right? 2, where were you in the past? You know, where were you in the past? Your childhood, your teen years, and now, okay? Then, what are your dreams and goals? You know, in your teen years, when you started to gain weight, in your teen years, maybe you started to gain weight, and then in college, I gained weight, and I wasn't happy and confident in my own skin, and I wanted to gain my confidence and my happiness back, right? And 4, you know, how did you get off track, and you know, what was that turning point for that? 5, what happened that changed everything? Okay, so this is where you can talk about Beachbody. You know, before it was about the struggles and everything that was going on. And then, you know, the 5th one would be, you know, how did you find Beachbody and how did that come into your life? 6, why and how did this work? Okay, and explain that more. 7, where am I now to this day, right? 8, where am I going next? And 9, here's how I can help you, okay? That's just a small outline. If you can fill in the missing pieces, you can write a story. If you follow Amy Silverman's ways of telling your story, you can write a story. If you follow Tara Carr's way of writing a story, you can write a story. You can write your story in so many different ways, and people will resonate to your story differently, okay? So I take mishmashes from things I see, my own story, and different ways of connecting with my people that follow me, and I write my own story, okay? So as your coach and your mentor, you know, I'm just really here to kind of telling you about the different people and different ways and how you can follow other people and write your own stuff. So that's it for today, and I'll be answering questions after the call, but this is it for the recorded session, and I'm so glad you guys were here and learned more about telling your story. Thanks, everyone.